You're very welcome to East Horizon Stories Book of the Week. The book that we're picking today is Weapons of the Irish War of Independence by Kieran E. McMullen. Have you ever considered the crucial importance of weapons in the amazing struggle for freedom in Ireland? Well, Kieran McMullen, who's a retired Army Lieutenant Colonel of Field Artillery, who's a veteran of Operation Desert Storm and Korean DMZ, guides you in his book, Weapons of the Irish War of Independence. Kieran McMullen also has written two other books, Weapons of the 1916 Easter Rising, as well as the weapons that were used in the burning of the Customs House. One of the things that's really interesting about this book is because he's a weapons expert, he can give you an insight, and he has got the weapons to show how the weapon can win the battle. This is something that maybe some academia may be lacking in terms of their knowledge of weaponry.
The .45 caliber bullet, however, had a 230 grain bullet, traveled at 830 feet per second, and had an energy transfer of 356 foot-pounds, twice that of the .38. Therefore, the .45 caliber bullet was a man stopper. It put people on the ground. The .38 did not. That's the reason for the change. The Colt 1911. The .45 ACP round that this gun uses has a 230 grain bullet that moves at 820 feet per second, and it is definitely a man stopper.
Kieran also explains how the Crown forces were well armed with every weapon they could need and plentiful supplies of ammunition. But the Irish, on the other hand, struggled. They steal, they imported, often smuggling guns hidden in bags of oats from Belfast. Handguns, revolvers, semi-automatics were the preferred weapons in the city. But it was the long gun rifle that was the weapon of choice in the countryside. One of the famous weapons of the 1916 to 22 period is the famous Peter the Painter Mauser C96. Kieran reveals that it was named after the Latvian anarchist who outgunned London Metropolitan Police at the famous Siege of Sydney Street. Cathal Brugha also selected it when he went to the Visitors Gallery of the House of Commons in April and June of 1918. Vinnie Byrne of the squad used it to execute two British intelligence officers on Bloody Sunday. You can see here a picture of the weapon that Byrne threw down before his capture at the burning of the Customs House. It was also chosen by Ernie O'Malley when he went around Ireland as GHQ organiser, and it was also famously used at the Battle of Mount Street in 1916. Another infamous firearm was the Parabellum P-08 or Luger, the standard firearm of the German army. It can be susceptible to dirt and sensitive to ammunition. If the ammunition is too hot, for example, the toggle moves too quickly and the cartridge may become jammed in the chamber, causing failure to extract or feed a new round. And Kevin Barry had arrived late for the ambush at Monk's Bakery and was issued with one. He wasn't happy though when they held up the lorry. They were outnumbered 20 to 13. The volunteers withdrew and regrouped in Cathedral Street, only to discover that Barry was missing. Kevin's gun had jammed and he'd gone underneath the lorry to fix it. Only one shot had fired for him. If you have not all the ammunition with the same mark and date though, it causes a jam. And Barry was captured and subsequently executed. And you can see that one of the reasons for that was because of the weapon that was used. You can see a photo here of Dan Breen proudly displaying his artillery model Luger at his wedding to Bridget Malone. It talks about gelignite, Mills bombs, Lewis machine guns, short magazine Lee Enfield rifles, RIC Lee Enfield carbines. You name it, this book has it. This book's a fascinating one because it looks at areas that an awful lot of historians can skip over because they haven't looked at the weapon and why the weapon can cause possibly success or failure within a battle. I'd highly recommend it for people who love Irish military history and weaponry.